was down because of the
Okay, that's right.
going, I don't know why you
Good evening. The Lapeer Community School Board of Education meeting is now called to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. LaBar, would you please lead us through the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. LaBar. Okay, next we have our presenting school. I will turn it over to you, Superintendent Andre.
Thank you, Madam President. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce the esteemed principal of Roland Warner, who couldn't be here, so we brought Wyatt. To present to you this evening with members of his highly capable staff on goal number 2, strategy 2.2. Mr. Stevens, I yield the floor to you.
Thank you, Mr. Watt. I think I earned that after I showed up in a suit and tie. Right. I will point out my vest is on the chair.
Just
I was worried.
as soon as the meeting is over,
I can get it out of here. In all sincerity, I appreciate getting back before you all, and welcome to our new board members as well. I think last year I was up here standing before you for our Roland Warner presentation, and I think I had a twinge of being sentimental. You know, with the change from 6-7 and feeling that pride and ownership, I know that we all did, but I am here with a little bit of a different glimmer in my eye this year. And it's not being sentimental, it's a little bit of hope. It's a little bit of, I will be honest, excitement, a little bit of patting our team on the back. Because I am going to yield to them and not share everything in the presentation. And I think it is something that is going to set us for the future moving forward too, when we start looking at change for our district. So, I didn't follow Matt's instructions. It's green. We're going to present, actually, we've added a little bit into that presentation because we really think that's what kind of makes Roland Warner what we are right now as well. So we're going to tie those two together. We're still going to keep it under 40 minutes for Mr. Landry. You know how he loves that. But we're going to present on the whole child goal as well as we're going through, because that is a huge part of the change process that we're going through. But as I talked about, our change, our transition from our middle school model to what we have now, it truly brings in the best of our elementary model. It brings in the best of what our middle school model was. And I don't want to say that it's preparing kids for the next step. We're doing that all the way through school. Every place is preparing them for future success. But what we're doing actually is we're maximizing student learning through the different processes, through the schedule, through all these things that were scary, right? When we were doing this change, I'm going to admit it, we were putting it on paper, and you're going, man, I hope this works out when it's in person. And what you will see is through the process, through living it, we've created a great model. Is it perfect? No. Continuous improvement, we're going to continue to improve. But what you're going to see through this presentation, these ladies are going to share with you next, is that we are maximizing student learning where they are at that 5-6 level. So, without further ado, Mrs. Gandon, our math learning coach, is up for the next goals.
Hi. So this evening, Andrea and I are going to talk about Goal 2 and how staff at Roland Warner has been implementing high-quality instruction through a multi-tiered system of supports. As Wyatt mentioned, our goal has been to maximize our impact by blending the elementary and secondary. And in an effort to do that, we began by creative teaming. Every student is assigned to a team of 2 to 3 core teachers. And we know that building relationships and meeting the needs of whole child is crucial for learning. And so teachers have had the same shared students for the entire year, which enables them to collaborate, identify every child's strengths and weaknesses, and create social and academic opportunities for every student to grow. This model has enabled the experts to be teaching the content and nearly eliminates kids slipping through the cracks. So not only do teams have common planning every day, they meet twice a month during their PLC. And that time they're specifically looking at data to place kids in enrichment and intervention opportunities based on their needs. So if we're thinking specifically about academic gains of this configuration, our team has been most excited about the 90 minutes that students and teachers have had for both ELA and math. This has given our ELA and our math teachers time to fit in all of the components of good instruction, while students are also learning more content. In our math classrooms, teachers are able to begin their class with a thinking task. From there, they're able to provide instruction, then give times to collaborate with each other, as well as do independent practice, and then they're able to assess in real time. And so when they're assessing in real time, then they're able to make instructional shifts to help maximize student learning. So the time increase provides the necessary time for the students to engage with complex ELA and math content, directly accelerating their learning outcomes. Our ELA teachers, they're being able to incorporate word study, allowing kids to identify patterns of words and their meanings, as well as the structure of spelling complex words. Everyone is enjoying the interactive real-outs while continuing to model good reading and writing strategies, leading to student practice in shared skills. Students are being able to integrate reading and writing experiences that foster their deep analysis. So as students are practicing ELA and math 90 minutes a day, they are just as excited that every day students are getting 55 minutes of science, social studies, and their choice of elective, being art, outdoor ed, PE, STEM, and band. Our teams continue to collaborate to meet the needs of every student, both socially and emotionally, while pushing them to be independent learners and their best selves. At this time, I'm going to hand over the presentation to Andrea, and she's going to talk more about subject area teaming.
So Mrs. Gannon spoke earlier about teaming, where the core teachers work together to look at just their small group of students, and they're really looking at academics and whole child social emotional kind of aspects. But we also team in subject area teams pretty regularly. So all math teachers will meet, all English teachers will meet, and they do that so that they can really hone in on teaching and learning and putting that at the forefront. So when they're in that time, they get to determine essential learnings that they want kids to walk away with, common assessments, looking at data, and then share best practices based on the data that they're seeing. And then now we have Zoo Zone, which is amazing, especially 5th grade. You know, the elementaries really had intervention worked into their day, but we didn't have that at the secondary when we were old kind of secondary model. So now every day kids get 45 minutes of time. Usually the intervention is ELA or math, but sometimes some other interventions are thrown in there too. They get their special education service at that time. But also we have enrichment opportunities. So our core teachers, they really focus on the content, but our elective teachers are the ones that do most of the enrichment. And what's very cool is that they often pair up with the core classes to sort of boost that or their own subject area. So the band teacher, she did this really popular project where the kids got to make their own instruments. So they might not have ever been a band student in their life, but now these kids that aren't in band, they get to experience some music and performance as well. And then our STEM teacher partnered up with the 6th grade science. Those guys were doing studying body systems, and so we had them do models of bodies. So we have a bunch of kids do these life-size models with very intricate drawings of like the circulatory system or the muscular system, which is really cool. And then how is it all kind of coming together? What are the results? So we've got some percentile data up here. Each year, our students take the NWA test 3 times a year. So we have ELA data and math data. And I'm showing percentiles. I think percentiles are kind kind of a good way to look at how we're doing compared to the national students across the nation. So we can see in ELA, we started off at the 55th percentile. That means that our students started off performing above 55% of the student population. Then they ended at the 58th percentile, so they are achieving better than 58% of the population. They also have growth scores. So for ELA, their growth was better than 61% of the population. For math, they made a lot of gains. So they were the 47% percentile, and then they went up to the 57th percentile, and that put them at a growth percentile of the 62nd percentile. So they scored or achieved, or made more growth than 62% of the population. So 60% is about, well, it's higher than average, so that's a really good score.
Is that state or is that nationwide?
National.
Okay.
So it's national. So next, I'm gonna have Mrs. Parks talk about Wolford. Here. So if you don't know me, I'm Mrs. Parks. I'm the associate principal at Roland Warner. I like to call myself Wyatt's personal assistant. So I hold it very dear to my heart. So what's really important when we're looking at 5th and 6th graders, right? It's hard to be a 5th or a 6th grader. I know a lot of us as adults, we pay bills, we say things like, oh, we need to be a kid again. I don't know if I would choose to be a 5th grader or a 6th grader again. These are really tough years for them. So we really need to foster an environment where they are supported through the whole child method and all of our stakeholders as well, because there are a lot of really nervous parents and they're like, oh my gosh, you're ripping my baby out of their elementary and they have to go to Roland Warner like we were this, big evil thing. So including all of our stakeholders and making sure that they're all aware of the things that we're offering these kids, because they really are important to us and we want to make sure that all parts of them are being educated. So some of the things that we have put in place for our kiddos, the electives that were mentioned earlier. So Mr. Stevens actually travels to all of the elementaries and gets the kiddos' opinions on which electives they'd like to take. They go home and get parent permission, and we know they have parent permission because parents then enter them online. And so they're already getting choice, right? And choice isn't something that 5th graders were used to having in the past, but now they do, and because of that, they actually get to explore more electives in 1 year than they did before. And it also lets them know, are these things that I'm liking and I maybe want to do again as a 6th grader, or I hated that, and next year I'll sign up for something else. So they are provided choice. They get to experience many different things. We also start after-school sports in our building, so this is really the first time in our building at Roland Warner where kids are involved in a Lapeer Community School sport. So they can do cross-country, wrestling, and track. We also did have a few young ladies that got to do basketball early due to basketball numbers and having to work with the state to make that happen, and they loved it. I got to supervise those basketball games, and I'm telling you, even if they didn't win, those smiles were huge. They had so much fun. On top of that, though, we also like to offer clubs. All of us that have been in education, you know that the more connections that kids have to the building, the more likely they are to come to school, to like to school, to want to be a part of the school, and we offer a ton of clubs. So I'll give you a second to kind of read through some of those. I don't want to read them all to you.
If you have a second to go to the Roland Warner Facebook page, there's a really cool video about our brand new bike club.
The bike club. It's so
It's a
cool.
cute video.
I think I walked out there the other day, because I had to maybe provide one of those kids in the bike club a water bottle that he maybe forgot in mom's car. And I think there were 23 of them out there. And I was like, wow, 23 kids in this very brand new club that just started this year. And it's so cool. We have our sponsor that runs it, and we have volunteers from the families that ride with them. So our sponsor can be in the front. We have volunteers involved in this bike club, and they're picking up the kids in the middle of the pack, in the back of the pack. And one of the grandfathers told me, this has been such a great experience. I was going to switch on and off with my daughter-in-law, and I told her, forget about it, I'm coming every night. He said, today I handed out 2 Band-Aids. I was like, yes, okay. We got Grandpa on board. Some other new clubs that started this year was needle crafting, and that's actually one of our paraprofessionals that said, hey, nobody picked this up. How would you feel about me running needle crafting? And I was like, yes, let's go. How can I support you? What do you need? So on top of clubs that we've offered in the past, we're adding clubs And we're catching so many kids, it's really cool. Problem Solvers Club ran this year, it hasn't ran since I've been there. She's a newer teacher, and she's out there researching online and finding all the stuff she can do with her kids. And when you go in there, everybody's hands-on. There's not anybody sitting in a corner by themselves or working on something alone. These kids are teaming together to work through whatever she created for that day. And it is just so cool to see all these clubs and activities for kids outside of school. We also have some attendance incentives that we put in play this year. So for Count Day, we did something different on each Count Day to celebrate the kids. They could get tickets for doing different Spirit Day stuff with us. We pulled them out of the hat. They got to win prizes. We did some prizes that didn't really cost the school any money, but the kids thought were so cool. So they could get the VIP table on the stage. Or they could be Friday DJs. So we do High Five Fridays, and we also play music when they leave. And they could win an opportunity to make the playlist. School appropriate, of course. We do Just Because You're Here surprises. So randomly, we try to do it once every month or every other month. The kids show up, and it might just be something small like a sucker. Hey, thanks for being here. We're so happy to see you today. We've done donuts and cider, and I can't tell you how many kids said, I didn't bring any money. We're like, no, this is free. Just go get a donut and a cider. And they just light up. They're so excited. We're like, this is just for being here today. Our count days went wonderful. We had great count. And then recently, Mr. Stevens initiated a Wow Wednesday. So teams, we calculate their attendance, and a team can actually win like free time to have an extra recess on the playground, and we play music for them and let them play for, a couple minutes on an extra day somewhere, and they're loving it. And then we have ones that we've always had, so we do our lightning leaders every month. High Five Fridays in the morning are still a thing. We have our positivity project that gets run through Zeus Zones and then throughout the day. I know Mr. Meister and I also use that in the office, so if there is a disciplinary issue that we can tie back to a positivity project theme, and maybe how could we handle this differently, we're working it in there too. And then we have our school counselors and our mental health support, and they're wonderful. They're available to the kids as much as they possibly can be. Family engagements nights, these are kind of new to us. They're something that is more popular at the elementary level. And so we brought them in. We had a great winter fest this year. Tons of pictures online. If you aren't familiar with that, we lit up the trails. There were snowshoes. Kids made snowflakes inside the building. We had archery. We had food for families that came, so we didn't have to worry about dinner. And then we also did one in March, and we focused around March's Reading Month. So not just the books, but also digital citizenship, because we think that's important for fifth graders to start learning a little bit about fifth and sixth grade digital citizenship and how do I be a good online person. And all of those were very popular, especially the lava lamp. And then we had drones. We asked our high schoolers to come in, and they had a drone course set up in the gym, and the high schoolers ran it for us. And it was so cool. They loved it, and the kids loved it. So, we're going to wrap this up, our presentation, and then obviously you guys can ask us questions, but we made just a little bit of a video for you that's going to cover kind of all the different things that we talked about today.
just, everyone seems to come in here so excited about their school. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like every person that comes up here, your school's better than the other school. Right? and it's like you guys come up here to prove it, and you seem to do it, right? You're like, well, we're better than, Zummer, and we're better, and you go to try and prove it and show it, and you guys always seem to figure out a way to do that and just keep, how can we one up somebody else, because we're knocking it out, we're killing it, we have all this stuff, and it's amazing. So, love it, keep it up, love it.
I think it's important to truly thank you guys, because it seems like the fifth graders have always been in Rolling Water. Like, that's what it's felt like this school year. Even just listening to parents in the community, just everyone is so grateful on the smoothness of the transition. I'm sure the first couple weeks were probably always like the first couple weeks of school, but I think you guys should be, I'm super appreciative, but you guys should all pat yourselves on the back. As much energy you put in to creating the plan, you can see that you're executing the plan. And our kids are feeling it. That's the best thing. So keep doing it. Like, keep continuously improving, but like Greg said, I'm not sure how you're going to top yourself next year, but I'm excited to see it.
Honestly, we have just a great staff top to bottom. It's very cool.
But it takes a good leader to tap into that.
Yeah.
So, gotta give you some kudos as well, Mr.
Great team.
So, and Megan, right? You guys are good leaders, and that helps. But also, like, I love the idea of you going out to the elementary schools and seeking input, right? That's community involvement. That's involvement of our stakeholders and, and our kids, and that's really, really cool. And that makes a probably smoother transition for these kids because you get them excited. So, thanks for all your efforts.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to my niece being there next year. Just especially for all this. It's exciting.
Well, you mentioned at the very beginning that you felt some of the things that you guys have been able to put into place this year and just conceptually duplicatable. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So, like, when I started this out again, that twinge of feeling that sentimental heartbreak 6-7, right? And then you start looking at the concept that we have now, where it's an entire grade level, that we have collaboration across entire grade level teachers. We've put into place these different systems, such as a schedule, right, where we're hitting the MTSS. But if you look at grade level spans and peer as well, yeah, change is scary, right? It is. I'm the first one to admit it's scary. But when you process through this, you realize it's the teachers in the rooms that are making the difference. Those teachers are going to be inside those four walls with our kiddos. And we're proof, right? 5th grade moved into Rolling Water. It was scary. Our babies came to middle school. Like you guys said, I get it. Those teachers and that team made it successful for those kids. But it's the team across the grade level too. They can collaborate. They come up with the best ideas. They approached us the other day about bringing Cranbrook science on for our 5th graders. They're all going to 5th grade Skinner Lake because those teachers can all work together and plan out ideas in that. So when you put the staff together, like grade level wise, they can work together and make great things happen. Our 6th grade is going to the Detroit Tigers game. They're doing a science presentation for the Detroit Tigers game. So it's just the opportunities there.
I'll probably have to chaperone that.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah.
Safety first, Ryan.
I'm sorry, you're seeing that's not here.
Yes.
Prove
Yes.
that.
Well, I'll take Mrs. Parks' place as your personal
Yeah.
assistant.
Yeah. No, there's opportunities, and when you create a system like that to where people can fill in those opportunities, that's powerful, right? And people can work together and do that on a grade level span. I mean, even when you were talking about PLCs and that, as you were talking, yeah, it's not perfect because people do ELA and social studies, but guess what? When you have them all collaborating about what's the best for kids across, and it's not just 2 people doing it, now you have 10 people collaborating. What's the best for kids? When we're looking at the data, what works best? It is very powerful.
So
It
want the board to process this, that this team that you see before you will be critical in helping us expand their work, even not just this year, but next year as well, as we look towards the strategic plan change and how might that be replicated in other 2 grade level buildings, and the schedule and all of the teaming aspects that they refer to, I think can be replicated. It doesn't have to be 5th and 6th grade. It's not like this is exclusive to that for learners. Great.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm glad you really walked us through that and highlighted that, because I have always been thinking that the team approach of having all the 5th graders together, all the 6th graders together, what impact we can make with all the teachers collaborating, right? They can collaborate amongst their grade, but also the next grade up a little bit, right? So that's really critical.
It is, it's been powerful to see the students excel where they're at.
With this being such a pivotal, age group, 5th, 6th grade, hormones all over the place. I mean, to have that support from you guys as a team, and just the excitement that you guys have shown, and the amazing offerings that these kids get to choose from. I mean, I was looking at that list going, man, they didn't have any of that kind of stuff when I was a long time ago, but I mean, just the fun energy that you guys are bringing. And I know a couple of kids that are there, and they tell me how much they love it there. And I don't know if it's just because of the lunch, but I mean, lunch is great, but I just love the energy that you guys have brought, and you guys have always shown such a wonderful presentation to us, and I appreciate it. I do think that there's one thing missing. Where's the honey?
So you are at the wrong time of the year for honey harvest.
Well, I didn't put you on this presentation schedule here.
Who would do the rolling water presentation in May? Mary.
No, I just know that that's just such a fun thing to look forward to, and I know. Do you guys still have a lot of involvement with the Bee Club?
Oh, yeah.
We actually just put the bees in this past week.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
how exciting.
I would say in general, the clubs that Darlene and I took over student council with 2 other sponsors, and luckily there are 4 because 60 kids signed up. Like the 5th graders were like, the 6th graders, maybe about 26th grade, but there's like 40 5th graders, so they're like ready to change the world.
That's great.
You should have seen their campaign posters.
We made them run a full campaign of speeches and great. And
That's
most
awesome.
5th graders, all the 5th graders won.
Yeah.
Actually,
They all get their own little labels for the bees. I
There's
no.
still competition.
There's
Yeah.
still.
But I will say it's not just the students and parents too. We had a great turnout.
Oh, that's
Volunteers
wonderful.
put on all these parent nights and that. We've had great support. So
That's
good.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we will now head into our public comment this evening. A board meeting is a meeting of school district business held in public. It is not a public meeting. The board is not going to respond to those making public comment, but will direct the superintendent to follow up with the presenter. 30 minutes is set aside for public comment, so each presenter is being asked to keep their comments brief. The board does not comment in public on any student or employee and asks the presenters to be respectful of any person they comment about. Karen Brashenko.
Hi, so a couple meetings ago, I think it was, I commented about John Van Wagner's suggestion of a book by David Barton, that we read that book. And I pointed out that David Barton is discredited. He is not a historian. He produces fake history. And I encouraged Van Wagner to read a better book by an actual historian. Well, the reason I'm speaking tonight is because at the April 2026, just happened, Tea Party meeting, Mr. Van Wagner spoke in his role as a trustee of this board. He did not distinguish between personal opinions and professional. He was speaking there in his role as a trustee. And in that quite long speech, he talked about Benjamin Rush, who had been brought up by the person who did the prayer at that meeting, and again mischaracterizing history, and saying that Benjamin Rush wanted religion in schools, thought, our society is dependent on religion in schools, made all sorts of comments about Benjamin Rush, including, and for the most part, everyone has forgotten what Benjamin Rush has said and what our founders thought. So I picked up a Benjamin Rush book because this is not consistent. The way that Van Wagner has characterized this is not consistent with what I learned in history courses, and I have a degree in history. And so, I thought, gosh, did David Barton write a Benjamin Rush book? Yes, he did. And so if any of that information came from a David Barton book, I really want to encourage you to get better books and learn about history, because what I'm seeing is what you keep saying in public, low competency in history. So I want to encourage you to increase your competency in history, maybe go take some entry-level classes. A wonderful opportunity for you to really learn. Because I think I have concerns when a trustee of an educational institution is out spouting things that are just patently false. Because Benjamin Rush actually very much opposed any sort of religious oaths. He didn't want religion in government. He was one of the first founders, the first documented founder, to say separation of church and state. And that is one of those things that for those of us who have been in public schools and worked in public schools is a key thing. Because I wonder if, as you said at that Tea Party meeting, that you wanted everyone to get back on track with some really cool teaching once again, and praising the Texas Board of Education, because you say they're going to add a New Testament semester, an Old Testament semester as requirements to graduate. So what about, this is a pluralistic society, even in our county here, we have Jewish students, Muslim students, we have non-religious students, we have all kinds of things being taught at home. And if your goal in being here as a trustee, as it seems to be, is to inject religious ideology into our public education, how do you think those students feel hearing a trustee say that? I just, and adding all that religion, what is it going to add in, because those of us who work in schools and are in the trenches every day know that we're trying to build competencies, we're trying to build skills, we have knowledge of child development and we are trying to guide those students up. And adding all this religious ideology, what would that add? To me, nothing, because that's stuff that belongs in the home and under the control of parents. And so when we have a trustee, again, saying those things, I just wonder if you should be up here. I would certainly never vote for you. I just really want to encourage you to think about the other folks. I respect your right to have your religious views. What I don't want is those brought into schools, because you should respect everyone else's rights to have their own religious views. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that is all I have for public comment this evening. So we will head into our reports. I will share the personnel committee meeting. Committee members present: Summer Putnam, April LeBar, John Van Wagner was subbing for Casey Carpenter. Others attending: Matt Wandry, Kim Seeley, and Mary Moss. The meeting was called to order at 6 p.m. We spoke about budget and strategic planning. Matt provided an update on the status of the district's strategic planning process. He explained the definition of strategic planning as a continual review of our operation to ensure an efficient program that promotes the goal of maintaining and improving student programming and support. The presentation included information about the district's budget, student enrollment trends, results from the facility utilization study, and the district's restructuring plan for the 27-28 school year. Communication about the plan and the opportunities for feedback will be provided for staff in the community in the next few weeks. A recommendation is planned to be formally presented to the board at the June board meeting. And the meeting was adjourned at 6:54 p.m. Anyone have any questions or concerns? Okay. Let's see. The Student Advocacy and Communications Committee meeting. You
The Student Advocacy and Communications Committee met on April 15th of 2026. The members present were Tim Lipka, who's the chairperson, and Casey Carpenter. They started right at 2 o'clock via Zoom. Others attending were Matt Wandry, Matt McKinder, and Mary Moss. John Van Wagner was absent. They discussed the district marketing update as a follow-up to the meeting that took place in February. Matt McKinder presented updates on expanding marketing efforts across the district, including student and staff testimonial videos, social media campaigns, and alumni stories featuring notable graduates. The committee discussed plans for new content, including Talk to Me Tuesday, features highlighting building leadership, graduation posts, and involvement in the Lapeer 250th birthday celebrations through student art contests and performances. The meeting adjourned at 2:24 p.m.
Okay, any questions or concerns? Thank you, Mrs. LaBar. Next, we have the policy committee meeting. Dr. Novak, would you please share us the policy report?
Yeah, so we met April 17th at 1 p.m. via Zoom. It was myself, Casey Carpenter, sub for Craig Watson, and Tim Lipka. Others present were Matt Wandry, Kim Seifferly, Erica Ingalls, Danielle Covell, and Mary Moss. The meeting was called to order at 1:05, and we discussed budget and strategic planning, basically just the idea of making sure everyone did the presentation that Matt provided, as well with the personnel committee. So Matt provided an update on the status of the district's strategic planning process. He explained the definition of strategic planning as a continued review of our operation to ensure an efficient program that promotes the goal of maintaining and improving student programming and support. The presentation included information about the district's budget, student enrollment trends, results from a facility utilization study, and the district's restructuring plan for 27-28 school year. Communication about the plan and opportunities for feedback will be provided for staff and the community in the next few weeks. A recommendation is planned to be formally presented to the board at the June board meeting. And our meeting adjourned at 2:11 p.m.
Any questions or concerns? Okay, thank you, Dr. Novak. And then next, we have the Finance and Operations Committee. Dr. Watson, would you please share the report?
We met at 2 o'clock via Zoom on April 17th. Myself and Lisa Novak were there. Summer was absent that day. Others attending Matt, Eric Ingalls, Danielle Covell, Linda Thompson, Brian Batter, Mike Priest, Julia Geiger, and Mary Moss. Meeting called to order at 2. The committee discussed the district firewall. District's Technology Services Department evaluated the reliability and performance of the district's network firewall in 2021 and found that our current firewall solution was reaching its end-of-life cycle, experiencing performance bottlenecks and inability to keep pace with modern encrypted web traffic and evolving cybersecurity threats. Following a request for proposals process with 6 vendors, the tech department recommends selecting Delta Network Solutions for the purchase and installation of a new enterprise-grade firewall system, the FortiGate 701G series. The total project cost is $67,533, with $54,026.40 eligible for E-rate funding, leaving the district responsible for $13,506.60. This investment is expected to improve network throughput, enhance threat detection capabilities, and ensure robust protection for student and staff data. It was the consensus of the committee to recommend full board approval at the meeting tonight. Bus bids. Erica Ingalls reviewed a bus purchase recommendation for the 2026-27 school year from Transportation Director Linda Thompson. She is recommending going with Hoekstra Transportation to purchase 2 used buses. Hoekstra provided a full package that contains 1 53-passenger special needs bus, 2024 or newer, with less than 45,000 miles for a cost of $94,300, and 1 77-passenger bus, 2024 or newer, with less than 50,000 miles for a cost of $91,450. This meets all of our requirements and specifications that we were asking for, with a total bid of $185,750. It was the consensus of the committee to recommend full board approval again tonight. And the budget strategic planning, we discussed at the prior meetings, and we adjourned at 2:20.
Any questions or concerns? Okay, thank you, Dr. Watson. So that concludes our committee reports for this evening. We'll go into our action items. So we have our consent grouping, approval of minutes of April 8, 2026, set public hearing for budget for 7 p.m. on June 24, 2026. Then we have overnight out-of-state field trip for the Lapeer High School wrestling team to travel to Louisville, Kentucky on May 14th through the 17th of 2026. And then overnight out-of-state field trip request for the robotics engineering class to travel to Cedar Point on May 14th, 2026.
I should probably also chaperone that trip. Just
We got a lot of shit.
got a lot. Hey, busy guy. Busy guy.
Are there any items anyone wishes to have removed from the consent grouping? Okay, I'm hearing none, so I'll take a motion.
I make a motion that the reading of the minutes and policies be waived and consent agenda items be approved as presented. Support.
Okay, I have a motion and support. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next we have the bus bids. I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that the 2 used buses be purchased from Hostra Transportation for an amount not to exceed $185,750.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next we have the district firewall.
I'll make a motion that Delta Network Solutions be awarded an amount not to exceed $13,506.60 for installation of a new enterprise-grade firewall system, the Fortinet FortiGate 701G series.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next we have the ISD 2026-2027 General Fund Operating Budget Resolution.
I'll make a motion that the resolution supporting the 2026-2027 ISD General Fund operating budget be approved as presented. Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, I think that concludes our action items for this evening. We'll go into board member communications. Do we have any communications this evening?
Leader Fund Golf Outing is May 30th, so team sponsors, players, volunteers, let me know. We've got some changes that are happening with the Leader Fund. I'm stepping away, and Rick Fleming is taking over as the chairman. Dawn Fanton is taking over as vice. Kayla Scott is the new treasurer, and so there's some good changes, and we'll see some new stuff happening there. But the golf outing is May 30th, so let us know.
And Mrs. LeVar and I will be on
Which hole?
Vegas hole, I think it was.
Is it the Vegas one that we're gonna be on? We'll be there.
Good, thank you.
Bring your cash.
Go early, vote often.
We'll be asking.
Sure.
Nagging. Bugging.
It's always a fun day, that's for sure. It's a fun day.
Great.
Any other?
I know if Tim was here, robotics,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
have an update? Do you know robotics, what's the situation right now?
Did they have another
Yes, they actually, they won, Strike Zone won their division. I'm going back because I was sick during that whole
I'm trying
period.
to remember what
They
happened.
won their division at Worlds, went to the finals. They did not, and they did not make it to the finals, but they did win their division at Worlds, which is basically, I think there's maybe 20 teams in the finals, so they're
The top 25.
within the top
That's right. That's
20 in the world, so very,
Pretty amazing.
very impressive. Very.
I just want to say thank you again to Mr. Stevens, Megan and Darlene and Andrea for the presentation. I think it was really great. It was good to hear, and we just some great things going on at Roland Warner. And I also wanted to say that we're, I think as a board, we're sorry for the loss of Brian Moore, and I know my son coached with them in JV and saw him in the district as he was out and about doing his stuff for the ISD, and again, huge loss. So just want to say our thoughts and prayers are with the family. And
I was going to follow up on that as well. When we all heard the news, I just remember how shocked I was. I'm friends with his wife. He's been an amazing mentor to so many kids in this district, especially through wrestling, through his energy, through everything. He was such an amazing man, and we have a huge loss. And I hope that all of the former students or anybody that can come and represent Lapeer. I know that they wanted at the funeral to either wear camo, Moore's Market swag, or Lapeer Lightning swag. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm not saying I'm looking forward to it because it brings back a lot of very difficult memories, but to have Brian celebrated on Fitzpatrick Field on Friday, it's at 11:30, okay. I just think that it's wonderful that the community has embraced his family and celebrating Brian and his memory, and I hope that that field is filled to capacity. That's what I wanted to say.
I had a cool experience. I attended science night at Schickler Elementary, and probably didn't read the whole invitation because I went there expecting to see the science projects out on the table. And, when I walked in, anybody who has any question about the security at our schools, that'd be a good place to try out. My wife and I walked in, we didn't have a kid or student with us, and they were just about ready to throw us out. And explained to them that I was a board member and come to the invitation. Awesome event. It was exciting to see both kids and parents in there interacting. They had science night for the kids, which were, they had some animal exhibits in there and some archery. And then they also had some programs for the parents, such as, how to encourage your child not to be on the phone and not to be on social media, different things like that. But the atmosphere was awesome. Everybody was engaged. It was a cool event to see and be part of. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the presentation tonight because you see it going up through the levels, and those are some of the things that I wish more people would see, because that's what we need. We need that parent and student involvement, and that's the perfect example of it. So that was a great event. Cool. Take a kid next time.
whether it's yours or not, just take it. Casey, just let Jody go by herself.
Anyone else is in? Okay, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Wonder.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Craig, for your many years of service to Leader Fund as a founding community member. You've given countless hours long before your time as a board member here in Lapeer. You have always been a tireless advocate for kids in our community, giving back in so many ways. And I don't think anyone begrudges you the opportunity to step back and allow someone else to do the heavy lifting. But deeply appreciate your 10+ years. Leader Fund and the board and leadership. Awesome. Can't thank you enough for the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that that organization has pumped back into our schools, our classrooms, allowing teachers and coaches and kids to do things we would not have otherwise been able to do. So thank you for that. Want to remind those watching and those in the audience this evening about our 2 community forums scheduled to share with all of you an update on our 27-28 district strategic plan. Really excited to announce what the plans are for 27-28 and spend the remainder of this year and all of next year in planning and preparation to fine tune and tweak that plan to make it the best it can be. May 11th is coming Monday, and May 21st, both events are open to any and all members of the public. They begin at 6 p.m. and you can join us at the Lapeer High School Performing Arts Center, the newly renovated Performing Arts Center. There will be an opportunity to hear a presentation from some district staff, as well as a question, discussion, open forum dialogue as we answer questions about what's next on the horizon for Lapeer schools. As far as Brian is concerned, I want to echo everything that Mrs. LaBar shared about him. Brian was a really special guy, very difficult for many of us. On Friday, his last day with us, unfortunately, I had a very positive interaction with him on the way out of the high school, because he's a district operator, so he is in all the buildings, in all of our facilities, and it'd be really hard to find a better guy out there. I can't think of one right now. Lifetime Lapeer resident, graduate of Lapeer West, a district employee, a coach, a small business owner in town, husband, father, grandfather, and just all around great guy. And talk about someone that just bled for this community, loved Lapeer, everything about it, gave really every corner of his life to it, and he will be sorely missed for sure. We came across a really cool YouTube video that is a sample clip from the 1995 Lapeer West High School State Championship game. Mr. Moore was a leader on that team, senior this year. This is the fall of '95, so a graduate '96, who made a really, really big play for the Panthers in the first quarter of the game, and so we wanted to share that clip with all of you tonight. He's been making us look good since 1995. Brian will be missed, and that's a small tribute. But I want to thank the Lapeer School's teacher for sending me that clip this evening and saying, hey, this would be cool if you could work it into the board meeting. So
Thank you.
Brian was loved by a lot of people. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Superintendent Ryan. With that, I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. A little slow on the
It's usually with
I don't know, it's.
Mr. Van Wagner,
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mrs. LaBar.
Aye.
Dr. Watson.
Aye.
Dr. Miller.
Aye.
Mrs. Hutton says aye. Dirk